Happy New Year to everyone. At this time, what we will do is have roll call. And again, I will ask everyone if you will mute your line. Please make sure that you mute your line. And Ms. Halsey, I need to make sure that you help us mute their lines if they're unable to do so at this time. Okay. We'll start with the roll call and we'll have Vice Mayor Yasu.
Present.
Councilman Carol.
Present.
Councilwoman Johnson.
Present.
Councilwoman Bell.
Present.
Councilwoman Hood.
Present.
And Councilwoman, I have Councilwoman Hopkins.
Present.
Okay, outstanding. So at this time, just for clarification, we just had a special call meeting. Just want to make sure everyone's aware. And in order for us to have that special call meeting, we had our newly elected and re-elected officers to have their oath sworn in earlier. So I wanted to make sure in terms of clarification, that was very clear for us to have been able to conduct the meeting. We will, because of that, and we have the special call meeting, I will ask the council to review the agenda and to make the appropriate changes since we had item H as part of the special call meeting. So I'll ask for a change for the agenda at this time.
I have a motion, Madam Mayor.
Yes, Councilwoman Johnson.
I move to amend the agenda to remove item H
I second
because we had a 6:50 special call meeting.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and second that we remove item H from the agenda. Are you ready for the question? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Hearing none, the agenda has been changed and approved. We will now move into public comments, which is number 3. Any member of the public may address the council during the time allotted for public comment. Each attendee will be allowed 3 minutes for comments at the discretion of the presiding officer. The public comment period will be limited to 40 minutes, and it is not a time for dialogue. If your public comment contains a series of questions, please submit those questions to the city clerk in writing, and this will facilitate follow-up by the council or staff. And actually, what we do for the work session is each person has the opportunity to speak on that particular item. So at this time, we will move on to presentations and administrative business. As I mentioned before, we had our newly elected officers to be sworn in earlier so that we could do the special call meeting. But because we want to make sure that they have a chance, and myself as well, to have the oath done before you, our residents, we're going to take this time to make sure that we do it. And so at this time, I'm so happy and excited to welcome our new council member, Councilwoman Hood, our returning Councilwoman, YT Bell, and our returning Councilman, Jamie Carol. Welcome, and myself. So at this time, we will go through the oath of office. And do we have our judge present?
Good evening.
Hello, Judge Will. How are you today?
I am doing just fine. I hope you are too, Madam Mayor.
I am fabulous.
We will start with you. And are you ready to take the oath of office, Mayor Burks?
Oh, you gonna start with me? I was gonna let them go first.
Well, it's your meeting. If you want to let the council go first, we can.
I will. I'll let them go first. I want to let them go.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Carol, Ms. Bell, Ms. Hood, are you ready to take the oath of office as council members?
Yes.
All right. If you will raise your hand, please, and repeat after me. I, and then insert your name.
I,
Susan Hood.
Do solemnly swear or affirm
Do solemnly swear or affirm
we swear
that I
affirm
will support the constitutions
to support the constitutions
of the United States and the state of Georgia,
of the United States and the state of Georgia,
States and the state of Georgia,
that I will in all respects
that I will in all respects
observe the provisions
observe the provisions
visions
of the charter and ordinances
of the charter and ordinances
of the city of Clarkston,
of the city of Clarkston,
Clarkson,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I
and
will
that I will
faithfully
discharge
discharge
that
the
faithful
duties of the office
duties of the office
the office
of the city council
of the city
council
for the city of Clarkston, Georgia.
for the city of Clarkston, Georgia.
Congratulations on your positions.
Thank you, Judge.
Judge, I'm ready.
All right, Madam Mayor, are you ready to assume your oath?
Yes, I am, even though my background won't let you see me raising my hand. So,
Okay. Well, let's get this. We'll do it for you. I, Beverly Burks,
Beverly Burks,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the constitutions
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States and of the state of Georgia,
of the United States and of the state of Georgia,
that I will in all respects
and that will in all respects
observe the provisions
observe the provisions
of the charter and ordinances
of the charter and ordinances
of the city of Clarkston,
of the city of Clarkston,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of office of mayor,
the duties of office of mayor.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I further, no, this is the tricky part.
Okay.
I further swear and affirm
I further swear and affirm
to the following.
to the following.
I am not the holder
I'm not the holder
of any unaccounted for public money
of any unaccounted for public money
due the state of Georgia
due to the state of Georgia
or any political subdivision
of any public political subdivision
or authority thereof.
or authority thereof.
I am not the holder
I'm not the holder
of any office of trust
of any office of trust
under the government
under the government
of the United States,
of the United States,
any other state,
any other state,
or any foreign state,
or any foreign state,
which I am prohibited
which I am prohibited
by the laws of the state of Georgia
by the laws of the state of Georgia
from holding.
from holding.
I am qualified
I am qualified
to hold the office of mayor
to hold the office of mayor
of the city of Clarkston
of the city of Clarkston
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and the laws of Georgia.
and the laws of Georgia.
Congratulations, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge Will.
You're welcome.
And so at this time, I'm going to allow our new council members and our returning council members to have an opportunity to say a few words. So we'll start with our newest councilwoman, Councilwoman Hood.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Judge Will. I'm honored to serve on the Clarkston City Council, and I appreciate so much the trust that citizens have put in me by electing me to this office. I want to offer special thanks to my family and friends and everyone who believed in my goal of serving all the citizens of Clarkston. Kathy Gannon, former DeKalb County Commissioner, sent me a message not long after I was elected. And it was something that had been sent to her after her first election. And as she said, this will be a guide for you. And I just want to read it because I think it is a good guide. Protect the process, serve the people, treat all equally, include everyone, and act not just for us, but for our future. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Councilwoman Hood, and welcome. And next we will have Councilwoman Bell.
Thank you, Mayor Burks. Good afternoon, everybody. First and foremost, thank you to the residents of Clarkston for electing me again as your representative on the City Council. I'm forever grateful that you believed in me. I often struggle with self-doubt, but because you're trusting me to govern for and with you, I feel that I'm truly enough and I have valuable input to address complex problems that we face in our unique as well as diverse city. When you elected me in 2017, I was the youngest Black woman to ever serve on your City Council, and we were able to accomplish a lot, but the work didn't stop there. We still have so far and so much more to accomplish, and I'm looking forward to doing it with you for the next 4 years. So thank you for believing in me, and I'm accessible and always available for you. Thank you.
Right. Thank you and welcome, Councilwoman Bell. Next, we will have Councilman Carol.
Hi, it's a great honor to be elected to the Clarkson City Council for another 4 years. I want to thank, first of all, the Clarkson voters for trusting me to represent them for another 4 years. I want to thank all my supporters for their volunteering, contribution, sign waving, yard signs. I would also like to thank my colleagues for my service in council, and especially during the time it took me to campaign. I ran for election to help make Clarkston a growing, safer place that's welcoming to all. I look forward to working with the rest of the council, the staff, and the Clarkson residents to help encourage more housing options in Clarkston, to encourage more business development in Clarkston while helping existing businesses to grow. At the same time, I want to make Clarkston safer in terms of public safety and a safe, walkable community for all our residents. My door is always open to hear from you if you have any ideas on how to help achieve that or other things you want to see change in Clarkston. And I just want to thank everyone again, and I look forward to the next 4 years. Thank you.
Welcome back, Councilman Carol. And for me, I am Mayor Beverly H. Burks. Last time I was elected in a special election, and I want to say it is my honor for me to serve as mayor of Clarkston, the most diverse city in the United States, and a place that I love to call home. I would like to first thank my family, my mother, my daughter, my sister, for their love and unconditional support as I always try to pursue my dreams. And I have to make sure, as part of my volunteers and everyone else, my friends, my sorority sisters, my community members, everyone who continuously have supported me with the elections and personal and professional goals. You make me a stronger person and help me to be a better leader. And you also make me accountable to make sure that I recognize that the position of mayor is temporary. And I must always remember my role is not for personal gain, but I am charged to serve the community. To the staff, thank you for your professionalism and dedication to the residents of Clarkston. You are our city's greatest asset, and you help to make the city a great place to live. I want to again thank our council members, our new and returning members. I look forward to working with you this term. And together we will make policies and create an agenda that will help our residents and city grow and thrive. As you know, I'm a servant leader, and I always have to make sure that I remember the least of us. And as mayor, I will always continue to make sure that I fight for our community, to make sure those who are, as far as making it a welcoming community, provide that ability for us to be as inclusive with our diverse neighborhood that we have. I am honored again to be the first woman and the first African-American to serve as mayor. And it is not a position for me, it's a passion and a commitment to making a difference for my community. And I take this task of being mayor with honor and pride. I want to make sure I also emphasize that I have to be a visionary leader as well. And I must work with the council and residents to move our city forward. Together, we will reshape and reposition our city to increase economic opportunities. We will empower our residents with partnerships and collaborations that will provide workforce development programs that will achieve financial stability. And we will welcome new residents and businesses into our community, but we will not forget the residents and businesses that maintain the financial foundation of our city. So again, I am so grateful for our residents, because you make all of this possible. And together we will work to make positive change for our city. So I look forward for your ideas, your involvement, and your participation to make Clarkston a better place. So again, I am honored to be able to serve a full term as your mayor, and I look forward to the work that we have at hand. Thank you all. And with that, we will now move on to item A, which is, we have no old business, we have new business, which is to discuss the selection of a vice mayor. Every meeting, we make sure in terms of January, we start off with the vice mayor. The vice mayor is selected among the council members to serve if the mayor is unavailable in that capacity. And so at this time, if anyone is interested in nominations for vice mayor, I will take them as now.
I would renominate Vice Mayor Yasu. I think he's done a good job the last couple of years.
Right. Any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, that is closed for the nominations of vice mayor. And we have Vice Mayor Yasu. We're going to have that as a permanent marker for you, Vice Mayor Yasu. You've been doing a great job with it, and we appreciate all the work that you do to continuously support this council in this city. Thank you again. And at the next council meeting, we will affirm it with a vote. Any discussions from the community on this item? Hearing none, we will then move on to B, which is the discussion of continuing services with the city attorney with a 7% increase from rates established for 2020. Ms. Cowie, our city manager.
Yes, Madam Mayor. This again is to discuss the continuing services for our city attorney. The city attorney will continue to provide legal representation of the city. This agenda item is to review and discuss those continuing those services with the city attorney, Stephen Quinn of Wilson Morton Downs, LLS, with a 7% increase from rates established for 2020. Madam Mayor. Two.
At this time, is there any questions or comments from the council?
I think these rates are still very reasonable when you compare them to other attorneys in the Metro Atlanta area.
I concur. Any other comments from the council? Vice Mayor Yasu?
No, I have
You're
no
on mute.
comment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Quinn, for the great job that you continuously do for our city, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. And I look forward to working with you for another year. And while I have the opportunity, congratulations to all of you who were elected or re-elected.
Ms. Cowie, are there any comments from the public?
We have a Miss Crystal Huggins. Mr. William Boone. There are no additional comments for this agenda item, Madam Mayor.
Okay, outstanding. With none, we'll move on to item C, which is the discussion of a resolution authorizing the reappointment of the municipal court judge. Ms. Cowie.
Yes, Madam Mayor, this agenda item is again to review and discuss the reappointment of the municipal court judge, David Wheel. As an independent contractor, the duties of the municipal court judge is to preside over criminal cases, traffic cases, parking, municipal court cases, arraignments, trials, and hearings. Staff does make the recommendation to reappoint the municipal court judge, David C. Will. Madam Mayor.
Yes, Ms. Cowie. And at this time, council, do you have any comments on this particular agenda item?
No, I'll just add that Judge Will has always been accessible, and we have appreciated him being a municipal court judge and look forward to him serving continuously for the city of Clarkston.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Judge Will, for your outstanding job, and we appreciate everything you do with our community.
I appreciate it, enjoy it, and I'm honored to serve.
Vice Mayor Yasu.
I also certainly want to announce similar sentiments. Councilmember Bell and the mayor, I want to thank Judge Will for all the service that he's doing, and the community. All I hear so far has been great notes about you, sir, and please continue serving our diverse community with similar passion. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there are no other comments from the council, Ms. Cowie, do we have any comments from the public?
No, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. With that being said, we will proceed with the next agenda item, which is item D, discussion of a resolution authorizing the reappointment of the solicitor. Ms. Cowie.
Madam Mayor, as the agenda item does outline, as an independent contractor, the city solicitor prosecutes cases within the jurisdiction of the City of Clarkston Municipal Court. Prosecution of misdemeanor criminal trials and other duties as outlined by the city manager in coordination with the municipal court judge, public defender, and court clerk. Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And at this time, is there any comments from the council? Vice Mayor Yasu?
I just want to make sure that there were no comments from the public on the previous agenda item. I'm not sure if did you call them?
I asked if there were any.
We did.
Okay, I'm sorry then. No.
Thank you for keeping up with that, Vice Mayor. Thank you. I appreciate that. So are there any other comments from the council? Hearing none. Ms. Cowie, do we have any from the public?
Madam Mayor, we do have a list of comments from participants. It was just a swearing in, but we did have a Crystal Huggins, William Boone, and I think Ms. Aramis only requested a copy of the agenda. So Ms. Huggins or Mr. Boone, William Boone.
This should be
That's
fine.
it, Madam Mayor.
Okay, since that's my sister, so it should be okay.
Okay, okay.
So we should be okay. So hearing no other comments at this time for this item, we will move on to E, which is the discussion of a resolution authorizing the reappointment of the auditor. Ms. Cowie.
Madam Mayor, yes, this agenda item is to review and discuss the reappointment of the auditor, Malden and Jenkins, LLC. The auditor will conduct an annual audit of all financial books and records of the city in compliance with the requirements of state general law. The city council shall engage pursuant to an annual contract, which is the engagement letter that we shall receive in February, pursuant to an annual contract from a certified public accountant or accounting firm. Staff did recommend to reappoint the auditor, Malden and Jenkins, LLC. Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Cowie, and Vice Mayor Yasu. I see you have a comment.
I have a quick question on this. Since this, contract is the only one that is not really that deals with the city on day-to-day basis, or at least on monthly basis. And I think we've been working with this firm for quite a while, and I'm just trying to see what is the process that we use to select this specific firm at the beginning. And the other question is, do we usually announce that, or do we do a bid every now and then on this, or how is this firm selected by our staff?
Thank you, Vice
It is,
Mayor. Ms. Cowie?
It is my understanding, Vice Mayor Yasu, that as you did state before, that the auditors have been in existence and working with staff before I became an employee of the city of Clarkston. So the process has worked and been familiar with internally with the process for staff. Our finance director has worked cohesively with Maulding and Jenkins throughout these years and provided with us and worked cohesively with us to provide all requirements that are needed for a comprehensive audit that we do pass with flying colors each year. As far as the bid is concerned, I'm not familiar with the bidding process for our auditors. We do wait for an engagement letter that we receive annually in February. So during that time, we will review another engagement letter, which is our contract with the auditor. I hope that answers your question.
Maybe Stephen can clarify this if I made it clear. I'm not sure.
Sure. Well, it's Malden, and I recall that Malden and Jenkins has been the auditor for less time than I've been the city attorney, because I remember when they were selected, but this has been, gosh, maybe 10 years ago. And I believe, although I can't say for certain, that there was a request for proposals process that the staff undertook at the time. This may have occurred when Keith Barker became the city manager. I'm just going off my memory here as far as how they came about. But as a legal matter, the city is not obligated to solicit bids or requests for proposals when it needs professional services such as the auditor. Now, that said, the city council certainly could do that, but it's not a legal requirement.
All right, thank you, Mr. Quinn. Any other comments from the council? Okay. Any comments from the public, Ms. Cowie?
We did not for this agenda item, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. And with that said, we will move on to F, which is the discussion of a resolution authorizing the renewal of the city services agreement with the Clarkson Community Center. Ms. Cowie.
Madam Mayor, pursuant to the service agreement that the city has with the Clarkston Community Center, the service agreement dedicates the use of space for the city, residents, businesses for either town hall meetings and special events and other organized meetings at no cost to the city. However, we are charged on a quarterly basis that will add up annually to the $10,000 that the service agreement contract does entail. With the uses outlined in the service agreement, the installment payments are paid no later than February, April, July, and October. And again, those services are for public, business, and other organized special events that the city or other patrons of the city may use those services and the meeting areas for future meetings. Excuse me, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And again, as part of that, we're included if we need to use those services as well.
That is correct.
Okay, outstanding. Council, did you have any comments? I saw Vice Mayor, your hand was raised, and then I see Councilwoman Bell after that.
Go ahead, Councilmember Bell.
Thank you, Councilmember West. I'll wait. Sorry. I just had a quick question. I know that based on what you said, City Manager Cowie, we're paying $2,500 a quarter, right, for the year to equal that 10,000, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and so with COVID and just like precautions and things of that nature, is anything changed in this agreement around like an extension of time for this space due to just not meeting in place, as we just had a resolution prior to this to make sure all our meetings are virtual?
There were no added addendums to the current contract, but once we receive the contract at the end of December and review those contracts, the use of the Clarkston Community Center by the businesses or residents are outlined in the contract, and we may use those as deemed necessary. We can go back to the Clarkston Community Center and review any amendments to the contract if you so see forth, based on those meeting in places or virtual, or any having virtual meetings, because at this time they are currently closed. And we did foresee a meeting for our swearing in that we had to cancel because of the increased number of COVID.
Vice Mayor Yasser. Thank you.
Thank
Mayor
you,
Yasser.
Madam Mayor. I think partially the question was kind of answered, but I was wondering, I think we could kind of tweak the agreement to include other services, because I know that the community center does provide services to the community, including food distribution and other services as well, especially since COVID started. They've been doing a lot of work around that, and their primary income is also related to the services. So I don't think it would be prudent for us to reduce or change the agreement because we're not using the space. But we probably could include other services, and we could talk to them, and if necessary, see if there are other areas where we could cooperate with them. That could be in any other form. It could be an outdoor function, or it could be things like including the food distribution that they do. So I just want to make sure that we also think about in the future, we could amend it. But for right now, I guess we could pass it as it is, but we could really think about adding more kind of collaboration with them. Thank you.
Yes, Council Vice Mayor Yasu, the question was, can we do an addendum to the contract or make an amendment to the contract based on either virtually meeting as we do now? And the answer was, yes, we can go back to them and discuss that with them. Councilman Carol's hand is raised.
Yes. Councilman Carol.
Yeah, I would just say that I don't think it's a good investment of city dollars to charge it just for the space. I think if we were to give them $10,000, we should allocate it for specific services, because I don't think we're going to be using the space at least for the first quarter of 2022, and maybe not for the second quarter after that, depending how it goes. So I don't think I can vote to approve the contract as it's currently stated. But if we offer the $10,000 for some other services they provide, then we could consider it.
And Councilman Carol, to your point, one of the things, and maybe Ms. Kelly, if you don't mind, just having that conversation with the center to see how much usage they have, because I know over the weekends they do use it a lot. Right now, because of this Omicron, it's kind of put a damper in terms of the actual usage of the facility, but they do use it during the weekends in terms of rentals with our community. So it may be helpful if we actually kind of have an idea, and we usually get a report to kind of see where they are from a numbers perspective in terms of the actual usage by residents. Ms. Calwe.
And that can be done, Madam Mayor, understood. I will review the contract with them. As you did state before, most of their services when school was in, when students were participating in school and actually going to a facility, there were more after school programs located at this location. So now that that has stopped, or the number has been lowered because of those uses, understood and acknowledged, that I will discuss with them. As Councilman Carol did state too, the first and second quarter numbers may be lower for having gathered events at this location as well.
Vice Mayor Yasu, you had your hand raised.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, I totally agree in terms of the cost for the city, but I also disagree the fact that I don't think we should look at our relationship in a short term based on quarter to quarter basis. We've been working with the center for pretty much about 10 years, I think. Since I've been in the council, we've been working with them, and I really would feel it would be unfair to just say we're not going to approve it because we're not using it just for a month or two. That's why I'm thinking maybe we could see other areas and ask them what areas could we work with them, not just with space only, because we might not use it for a month or two. Then hopefully things will get better. And I don't think it would be fair to them just to say, okay, we're not going to approve it for just because we're not using it for a month or two. So they've been really helpful, like it was mentioned, especially with the after school program. And we have a lot of children in our community that definitely need and utilize these services. And the funding for this organization is heavily dependent on donations. And so we got to be considerate. At the same time, even though we're not using the space, I really feel I am strongly for continuing the collaboration with the center.
Thank you. Councilwoman Bell.
Yes, I appreciate all the work of the Clarkson City Council. I love all the things that they do. I've been to several of their events, whether they were city events or local residents and businesses hosting those events. My concern is making sure that we're adequately using taxpayer dollars appropriately due to Corona, because we also don't want to increase exposure just because we have this option. The other thing are the stipulations within the contract. If you look on the use of Clarkson City Council by local businesses and residents, it says under 2B, one person or one group may hold 2 times maximum or 4-hour monthly gathering. So we need to look at the contract and scrutinize it just a bit, or think of innovative ways of how we can utilize them still. However, to make sure that, it's appropriate and we're not, increasing the influx of exposure is my biggest concern, and just making sure that maybe they have some flexibility around what room, how many spaces, the length of time of the contract. So I just want us to be for the Clarkson Community Center that we appreciate you. We just want to make sure that during this time when we know everybody's dealing with economic hardships, that we're adequately using services that we're paying for using taxpayer dollars.
Thank you, Ms. Councilwoman Bell. And that can also be a follow-up with Ms. Cowie in terms of addressing that with the community center as well. Are there any other comments from the council? Ms. Cowie, are there any comments from the public?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you to our city manager. And with that being said, we'll move on to G, which is the discussion to allocate $10,000 of the ARPA funds to purchase COVID rapid tests and distribute them to Clarkston residents. And that is Councilman Carol.
Yeah, thanks. So I think, as everyone knows, the Omicron variant is currently very rampant in our community. The number of cases in Metro Atlanta are rising rapidly. In an ideal world, our federal drug administration would have approved enough COVID tests so that they'd be available in all stores for just $1 or $2 like they are in Europe. In the world we live in today, that's not the case. It's very difficult to find rapid tests within stores. A lot of people that want tests can't find them, or if they have to order them online, it may take several days to arrive, and by then they could have spread the variant to several other people without knowing, because they weren't able to get immediately tested. And the good news is that it's still available for us to buy tests in volume, and that while it may not make sense for individual citizen to buy several hundred tests at once, the city of Clarkston can do so. And this is, I think, a clearly legal use of the ARPA stimulus funds. So my recommendation is to allocate at least $10,000 of the ARPA funds to purchase COVID rapid tests and distribute them to Clarkson residents. I'm open to different ideas on how to do the distribution, whether that's through medical facilities, whether that's through stores, whether that's through having a drop box at City Hall or Refuge Community Center. But I do think we need to purchase these tests and distribute them. And I would like to hopefully get direction from City Manager tonight to go ahead and make the purchases, because I know that lots of other businesses and cities are trying to purchase these same tests. So I think time is of the essence. Mayor, you're muted, right?
I know. Vice Mayor Yasu.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I certainly agree with Councilmember Carol that we definitely could help our residents. However, I'm also just want to make sure that I don't know how fast this can be materialized and how long it would take, because I know it's already in the pipeline that the federal government is planning to buy 500 million tests, and that would be probably 2 per U.S. citizen, I guess. So, always it's true that the federal government is huge and they would be very slow in terms of response, but I think the city is a lot closer to the citizens than the federal government. But I just am afraid that assuming that the government moves fast, we're just going to be replicating same program. So I'm not sure what stage that program is on. I heard it was announced that they will be moving forward, but I don't know how long it would take. And the other question I have is we got to also consider storage and how we're going to distribute it, and how soon is this going to happen? Because if we're going to ask our staff to do this, it will be probably difficult to distribute 14,000 or 15,000 residents we have to distribute so many tests. So I think we need to have a clear answers to how we're going to do it. But I'm definitely okay with doing it, but we need to have a clear instruction to our staff how we're going to implement it now, because it would be a lot of logistical thing, including storage and how do we mail it to them individually, or do they come pick it up from the city hall? And that could create another line, and people could be exposing themselves over there, so trying to get a test. So we just want to make sure we do it carefully at the same time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And I have Councilwoman Bell, then Councilwoman Hood, then Councilwoman Johnson, in that order.
Thank you, Mayor Burks. So I definitely agree on allocating the 10,000 of the ARPA funds to purchase the COVID-19 rapid test. I think that this is an opportunity for us as a city to partner with our local organizations that serve our residents each and every day. And I think we're meeting this moment. We shouldn't wait on the federal government. Whatever program comes out and is executed on, that can be supplementary and secondary to us making sure that our residents are okay today. I also feel like we need to meet residents where they are. They're not coming to the city hall. They're not coming to city staff. So this is definitely an opportunity to go back and work with the COVID-19 task force, our local providers who helped us execute on our first walk up and drive up COVID-19 testing. And so we need to rely on the experts so that we do not increase exposure and we do not put our staff at risk, but that we work in partnership with those key organizations in our community. And my only concern, or rather flag, is that I want to make sure that we're tracking and tracing exposure. And so I think that mechanism we need to think through and what that looks like. And I rely on, the professionals, Emory, Georgia State, the doctors that we have in our community to tell us how can we execute and disseminate these tests, but also track who they were given to, who tested positive, because we want to make sure that we're keeping others safe. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Hood.
Yes, I also support this effort. I'm glad the federal government is planning to do something, but in the meantime, I think it's important to act quickly. Councilman Carol, about how many tests would $10,000 equate to, more or less?
About 1,000 tests.
All right. And I appreciate what Councilmember Bell had to say about turning this over to the experts. I think we also want to discuss or make a decision or have policies about whether this is to people who are residents of Clarkston or residents in the whole zip code, that kind of thing, and how we would identify that. And then I think getting it, as I said, getting this done quickly would be good. I did have a question. Councilmember Bell, did you say that we would want to track the results of the tests? And if that's correct, then I think we may have an issue relative to, privacy related to medical issues.
There shouldn't be a HIPAA violation for you to indicate if you are positive, and that could be voluntary. But we should have a line where they can say, so that we're ensuring that their household is safe and that the people in the community around them are safe as well.
Okay, I see what you're saying about that. Yes, I think it's a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Johnson.
All right. Well, I would like to thank you, Jamie. This is a very awesome idea. And since you basically got the second on this item, I've been kind of doing some research with the CAP Board of Health. And I am in touch with someone who's basically in charge of getting the test. And we're waiting on her to call us back. And one of the ideas that I had, we don't want to target symptomatic residents. So we want to try to do what we did with the mask and the hand sanitizer. So after speaking with a couple of other council members, I thought that maybe we could do the door-to-door thing. Each household can get a kit. It's 2 in a box. We don't have to have any contact, just door-to-door. Each house, each apartment. That equated to about 8,970 tests that we would need. And with the help of the CAB Board of Health, we may be able to get these tests. I know it sounds like a lot, and it will be more than 10,000. So we may need to come up with more of a, where do we start? Because the 10,000 isn't gonna, it's not, even if we did half price, if they're $26 in the store, half price being $10, that would get us 8,970 tests, which would cover each household in Clarkston. So I am totally with the idea, still doing some research. And Councilwoman Bell, you had a very good point. The only thing that is happening with this rapid testing is the fact that we cannot track. The data source is not going to be 100% reliable, because we're having to rely on people to volunteer their information. So we got a lot of work to do, but we can start the process. But if you can give me a couple more days, Diane McWeevy is on the case. She's with the CAB Board of Health. She would be the one to order these tests for us. They have 5,500 right now, but they already have allocated them to some of the nonprofit organizations in DeKalb County because they service the entire DeKalb County. And another thing that most municipalities and corporations are not doing, they're not including their employees. So if we take this stance and purchase these rapid response tests, I think that we owe it to our employees of the City of Clarkston to offer them the same test, because some of them do not live in the city limits. But if we are going to give them to everybody, I think we need to cover all bases, because we are in the midst of a severe crisis. So anything we can do to kind of slow it down a bit, be a little more proactive, I think that would be good. So at this point, Mr. Carol, I would be willing to say maybe 20,000 just to make sure that we have enough. And in Vice Mayor Igasu, in the event that the president's initiative comes to play, they will reimburse us for anything spent, and it goes back into our ARPA funding. So I think that I would even encourage 20,000 for this initiative, just to be on the safe side.
Thank you, Councilwoman Johnson. And Councilman Carol.
Yes, I agree with Councilwoman Bell that we need to have some sort of way to track it. And I also agree with Councilmember Johnson that I would like to go higher. I'd be happy to go to 20,000 right now, just to get these tests in people's hands, and then hopefully more tests come later. And I would also like it if the council can go ahead and direct city manager. I also agree that the city staff should have access to some of the tests as well. I know some of the city staff has been testing positive. And I think particularly since some of them have to put themselves at risk, interacting with the community, interacting with each other, I think it's good to reserve some of these tests for staff. So I understand City Manager Kui has already investigated and found several large scale tests that she can purchase. And I would like it if the council can go ahead and direct her to do that. And so we can get it ordered now and hopefully get it in people's hands sooner rather than later. I agree on the 20,000.
Thank you for that.
Councilwoman, yes, Council.
I'm
Yes,
sorry,
go ahead,
Madam Mayor,
Ms. Gowdy.
but I was
Go
just
ahead.
going to elaborate on what Councilman Carol did state. We really very much appreciate the inclusion in those tests. Our staff have been overwhelmed as well with the COVID increased numbers, and that limits our productivity and customer service to our residents. Also, I've also reached out to companies that actually sent out to municipalities the actual 2 different tests. When reaching out again from an earlier conversation in the morning and before this meeting, they have stated that they are actually back ordered by 2 weeks. So even if we order today, those tests will not be here until the end of January. However, we can mass order them. They are available for all ages, as we discussed, is as low as 2 years old, and 2 in a box for home residents. So I just got the basic information from that today for these tests. We will follow up with other organizations, just as Councilwoman Johnson did state, as well as Councilwoman Bell.
And I'm gonna let Councilwoman Hopkins and then Councilwoman Bell.
Thank you. I just am curious about those who are saying that we need to get the results on this. I know a lot of folks that work in public health, have masters of public health, medical personnel working with DeKalb County boards of health, obviously Emory, Georgia State, and they have a very complex, elaborate system for doing contact tracing and outreach to people who have been tested and positive, and they are all interconnected, so they can touch those people that need help and then take it to the next step of what they need to get help in their household. Now, aside from obvious like HIPAA violations of us asking for people's personal medical information, but what would we do with it anyway? I mean, I don't know if there's anybody on the council that is equipped to manage people's medical information, or is there any way we could ourselves, well, okay, I know Deborah is a medical coder. She knows quite a bit about medical information, but is there any way we ourselves could take that information and make our residents safer, or teach them how to live in a house with somebody who does have COVID and, you know, prevent the rest of the household of getting it? Is there anything we could do with that, or could we just refer them to those professionals that can help them to get through if they have an infection in their household?
And Councilwoman Hopkins, those are great points. And that's kind of why I think even Councilwoman Johnson brought up and Councilwoman Bell brought up the COVID task force, where we were able to provide information in the packets that we distributed out, so that if someone tested positive or had that, we could tell them, if you have a positive test, go here or do this, and give them additional resources for them. So that's kind of why it's also important that when we do this, we have that kind of kit that we can give out with additional information, contact, what to do in case you are found negative, you know, just to make sure that they understand if they're found positive too. So making sure that we have some distribution in terms of that information. And then I'll let Councilwoman Bell have your opportunity to comment.
Thank you. Mayor Burke. What I will say is that I think everybody.
Is she frozen?
You're frozen. Councilwoman Bell, you are frozen.
Still frozen.
Still frozen.
Oh dear.
Oh my
Welcome
goodness.
to the world of technology.
And yeah.
Okay, what about now? Can y'all hear me?
Okay, now we have you. Okay.
I don't know. So what I was saying, but y'all couldn't hear me, was that I think everybody has had a valid point tonight. So thank y'all for your input. What I will say is that none of the data is going to be 100% reliable. And that's any data that we get. I think that we should have a way, as Mayor Burke just mentioned, that we use the COVID task force, but we also ensure that they don't have to put their information. So I'm a licensed social worker, so I know about HIPAA, and I don't want to do anything that's unethical, just for the record. So with that being said, they can put their address, and if they want to, they can volunteer. If they're positive, if they're negative, what I want to show is a heat map of individuals to reduce exposure to the people in those direct communities. But like Mayor Burke just mentioned, COVID Task Force did a great job of saying, hey, go here, directing people and giving them resources and just information on what they should do during the quarantine process. I don't think that's left up to us, but I do think that we should allocate more funds towards that, because that is labor, y'all. These people are going to have to come up. If y'all want people to go door to door, they're going to have to hire people, and they're putting themselves at risk. And so we want to make sure that they have the appropriate equipment, and we're meeting their needs as well as our trying to provide a service for the community. And so I agree that 20,000 for rapid tests, but I do agree that additional funds up to 10,000 need to be allocated towards this task force that's going to be helping us execute on this, because it's not going to be an easy feat. And it's one of those tasks where they're putting themselves at risk, it's timely, and it requires a lot of labor of people during this time.
Amen. Thank you, Councilwoman Bell, because I sure was in command central with all of that at the time. So thank you for bringing those points up. Council, you brought up so many great points. You brought up the fact that we do need to increase it. And the other piece is very important. This isn't going away. Okay. So just having these kits is a start. And even if we're getting kits from the federal government, it's still not enough, because guess what? Some of our community is considered essential workers and literally have to get tests every week. So just keep that in mind as we're looking at what we're trying to do in terms of helping our residents. This is a great start because we're making sure that they're aware of their status. And we can leverage this time to also continue the effort to make sure those who are not vaccinated to become vaccinated, and those who are not have their boosters to do that as well. So leveraging this all to make sure that we understand this is going to be a long haul, and we're going to have to work together with our organizations as well as our communities to make the difference. I saw some of my DeKalb Board of Health people on there, so just be ready for us to be calling you for additional assistance. And so we're looking forward again to all of our partners who are going to make a difference in making sure that our residents know where they are from a safe perspective. So are there any other comments from the council? Yes, Councilman Carol.
Can we just get a consensus to go ahead and ask the city manager, Kui, to go ahead and place the orders for 20,000? Because I feel like if we wait till next week, it's going to be later.
Are you saying for 20,000 or for the amount of $20,000?
The amount of $20,000, however much can be bought for $20,000.
Okay, so you know what? Let's just, for the sake of just taking a motion to make sure we have consensus to move forward, we'll just do that. I'd rather make sure we have it where we're documenting that we're doing it for the yes. Vice Mayor Gaston.
I would recommend that so if we're going to pre-order it, maybe we could agree with the 10,000 for now and just wait for the other 10,000 to do it after the city council meeting.
Councilwoman Hopkins?
I think I would prefer to wait until we get the information back, since Councilwoman Johnson has already reached out and is interacting with the DeKalb County Board of Health, and just 2 or 3 days is not going to make a huge difference, and find out if there is a significant price difference from what Ms. Kui has already sourced.
Okay.
As far as timing and price.
Okay.
But the thing is that it's another week, which means instead of getting the tests in late January, we get them in early February. And that time differential could be significant. And there could be some amount of price that we could get, but then I think it'd be better just get the cheaper test in addition to 20,000, because as Councilmember Johnson said, even if we get $20,000 for the test, that's really only $2,000 test. That doesn't get us to 8,900. There'd be one for each household. My recommendation would be to go ahead, and then we can always do the DeKalb Board of Health test in addition to the initial 20,000. The initial 20,000 isn't going to get us close to the number they're ultimately going to need.
Okay, Councilwoman Bell.
Yeah, I agree with the recommendation that we go ahead and use $20,000 to purchase tests now, because as everybody has mentioned thus far, the numbers are steadily increasing day by day. And so I don't want to wait another couple of days, which is going to delay us getting more tests because, they could run out or it could be a shortage. I don't know what the case may be. And so while I want to wait on Councilmember Johnson to follow up or get follow up from the Board of Health, I think we should go ahead and order $20,000 worth of tests now. And then based off her recommendations from the Board of Health, we can then make that decision to figure out how we're going to move forward. But I don't want to delay because people need to be tested now that don't have access and don't have the means to get a test or the time to receive the test because they're working multiple jobs or kids are not in school, so they're at home schooling them. So I'm trying to reduce the spread. And so that means we need to act now.
Okay. And Councilwoman Hopkins.
These tests that Ms. Cooey has sourced, we've already said they're going to be 2 or 3 weeks anyway. Where are they coming from, if not from the Board of Health?
Ms. Cowie.
What is the source for that?
Manager Cowie.
Can you hear me? I'm so sorry.
Yes.
It is a organization, a company that actually ships to municipalities, Citrix, that has sent out an information bulletin to all municipalities in reference to understanding the increased number of COVIDs and testing in our community, as well as for staff. So I actually did call the organization myself and vet through the process and ask specific questions. And that's when I got the details, Councilwoman Hopkins, related to the turnaround and how they are currently sold out, but you can back order for 2 weeks. And those results, if we ordered today, which was today, of course, tomorrow, it will be still here shipped by the end of January.
And you said it's...
And I can work.
What is the name of that company again? I'm sorry.
CETRIX.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And I can also work with Councilwoman Johnson, who has worked through information with the Board of Health. I'm pretty sure her information is as detailed and as proficient as the information that I've received. So we can also to see if we can move forward with ordering the test from the Board of Health.
So the bottom line is, either way, we're ordering 20,000 kits. So it might be through the Board of Health. It might be through your company. It may be someone else. The biggest thing is let's move forward with the kits. Is that consensus from the group?
That is correct.
So again, my understanding is, Madam Mayor, is it 20,000 tests or $20,000?
Dollars.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
We only need 8,970 tests.
Thank you, Councilwoman Johnson.
Thank you. And thank you, Council, for a very robust discussion and making sure that we do what we need to do for this city. So thank you again. Ms. City Manager Cowie, do we have anyone from the public?
No, Madam Mayor, I did not have anyone from the public signed up for this agenda item.
Well, with that being said, that concludes the items for this work session of the council meeting. So with that, we will have item 7, which is the executive session. So I will need a council member to make a motion for us to recess this meeting and go into executive session to discuss a legal matter, and for the public to understand this is basically the conclusion of the work session meeting. We will go into executive session, and when we come out of executive session, all we will do is adjourn the meeting. So if you just want to sit around and wait until we do that, that's your pleasure. But for your sake, just wanted to let you know this will conclude the meeting. And thanks all for your participation. So
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
So I just wanted to get the council's preference. I had sent out a link for our executive session, which is a separate Zoom meeting that would be private. And in addition, our city clerk has sent out a phone one that we could use. So I just wanted to know which one y'all would like to use so I go to the right place.
Zoom.
Zoom. So, well,
We
I
did
think
not
it's
receive it, Stephen. The city clerk did not receive your link for the meeting.
okay. I'll make sure that she gets that now. And additionally, I'd just like to say that if somehow there's a problem with the Zoom link that I sent and we're not able to get on there and talk, then let's use the phone as the backup.
Okay. So we'll do Zoom with the one that you gave us. And if it fails, we'll just jump on the phone call.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that being said, I still need a council member to give us that motion. Thank you, Vice Mayor Yasu.
I move that we go to executive session to discuss legal matter.
I second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and second that we go into executive session to discuss a legal matter. Is there any discussion? Ready for the question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Motion passed. Thank you all, and we will go into.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. One, two, three, four, five, six. Got one more.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Okay, I think we got one more, but I think for Deborah to come on, Councilwoman Johnson. And we're recording.
You can go ahead and adjourn, Madam Mayor, because this is a work session. You can go
Yeah, I don't
ahead.
think we need a motion to adjourn a work session, do we? We can just adjourn it.
Okay, we can adjourn it, but go ahead. We'll just do it for formality's sake. Councilwoman Bell made a motion. Someone second?
A second.
Okay, it's been probably moved second that we adjourn the work session. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Motion passed. Thank you, and thank you, Dean, for staying on.
Good night, all.
Good
Okay,
night.
Good night.
take care. Good night, everybody. Thanks
Bye.
again. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Councilwoman Johnson. We have ended the meeting.
What?